tell you, I'm going to get all the names and everything for my nephew in Israel right, and how they spell and everything.
Okay.
So you could just pass this off. Now, over there where we used to live, used to get about 20, 30 below zero. So a shoemaker in the wintertime didn't have nothing to do. They wear fur boots, you know, pressed fur. Have you seen boots? Pressed fur, but that thick.
What kind of fur did they use?
Sheep.
Sheep?
That's all the same pressed fur. And that's a boots, because in the wintertime, leather is too cold.
How high were the boots? How high did they come
just to this place.
Just up to the knee?
Up to the knee. Now, so the shoemaking is not very good in the wintertime because they have to wear this kind of boots because it gets cold. So he used to go out and cut to the forest and cut some trees for a company. He had a company, well, let me explain company. Like in Canada, you saw the forest in Canada where they cut up at this telephone post. You know, over there on this side of Louisiana, we have forest. You know where that lake is, where one of the senators used to live close. A curve.
Yeah.
On the other side of the curve is forest, the same kind of forest.
Oh, was it pine forest?
Yeah, pine forest. I want to explain it so you know exactly what this is. The pines, what the telephone comes, they are not the same pine like we raise here. They raise up straight, not very much limbs, and there's a reason they're tall, and you make the telephone, they give electric posts, you know, where you have telephones on. So we used to go out in the winter time. We didn't have nothing in the shoe shop to do, and we lived over there that what they call the Black Forest of Russia.
Is that in the Ukraine?
Yeah. So in kind of the northern part of Ukraine. So the way you go out, first thing you make a camp. How do you make that camp? For instance, you will have in this district gonna be maybe about 10 fellas. When they sort out a place, they will start to cut this 5 or 10 acres, and this will take, and they will stay together. Not to how to live in the cold weather, I don't know if you know about it. They take, like, build up, for instance, from the north, from northwest, if the wind is blown. So they, first thing they take, lay out like a pole, like this big pole this way, and this way. We make an opening here to go in. When they go out all around them, they build up some from snow, you know, like a wall.
Mm-hmm.
So the wind wouldn't hit too hard. The wind wouldn't hit hard when they build up. And then they light it. For instance, every fall, they light it. See?
They light it?
Yeah. To keep warm in the middle. Mm-hmm. See, they clean out the snow from the middle. When they light it, and let it burn it down, so the fire was not big, no, they light it. And we could stay, if it gets by 7, 8, or 10 below zero, we could come and stay and go to sleep over there.
Now, when you lit the fire, what were you burning? Were you burning those logs?
These logs.
Oh, okay.
You know, some logs, but they're not good for posts. Maybe crooked or something. So we just, for instance, the log like this thing. All right. Like this, for instance, gonna be.
Okay.
All right, the log like this thing.
Here,
see?
would a picture help?
Huh?
Could you draw a picture of it?
No,
or-
no,
Okay.
My eyes are not so good.
Okay. Is this what on three sides like this?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Here you light these logs. When you set them on fire, all around it, you pile up some snow so that stops the wind close. When when they burn, heat gets together to the top. Well, you could go ahead and stay and be a little more comfortable in this. And then, for instance, he has, the 5 acres, says, I'm going to take these 5 acres, or you take these 5 acres, and I'm going to pick out the trees.
Yeah. Let me.
All right.
Okay.
I'm going to pick out the trees were high enough, straight enough, and I will cut them. The way he cut them, he used to have on the feet all the same, like the old times here, the electric workers used to go up a post.
With the spikes and the shoes.
Yeah. He used to go up and cut off the limbs. See, when he used to get to the top, you take that saw and cut off that thing. He measured how much post you want. On the bottom, here where they grow from the ground, maybe they'll cut about that high.
About 2 or 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah, that's high.
How big around were these trees?
The trees is about its trees is like the big posts they have in this country.
Yeah,
what they
maybe
cut.
2 feet.
Less than that.
About 18 inches then.
That's high.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. For instance, if the wind is blowing this direction, he used to go ahead and cut it with the axe and cut it out. Then we used to, for instance, I used to go out with him and have a saw where you pull it, we pull it, and the wind helped it to bend it to this side. Then when he fall down, then he go ahead and leads it like that, straighten out. The excess used to be sharp right here, but that wide. And on the end was a spike. He could hit with that axe with a spike and turn over and cut up the limbs so it will be smooth. And leave it there. And on the end, he used to take here that end where he cut off. He used to put a stamp on it. How did they put a stamp? He takes the green leaves, and lay it on, and they had all the same like his name put on, and he hit it. Well, when he hit it, then when they start cutting, how many cut down that week or these days, they say this Abraham's.
What was his brand? What was his mark?
His initials. He had his initial made, all the same like you brand cattle. No, he took right here. Well, see, at the end and put the leaves on first, this made, he drove in with this heat, he drove in this like that L, like that day he's gonna be.
So it was an A for Abraham?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So he used to, on this way, when the weather gets better, they used to come or hold them out to a river.
How did they haul them?
Huh?
How did they haul the trees?
Now, when the snow is still on, they put a sled in the front and a sled in the back, and they laid on about a couple of them, and and drag them down by 5 miles maybe.
What, did the men drag them?
No, no, but with horses.
With horses.
Yeah. They didn't have mules over there, horses. And drag them down to the river. On the river, before the snow comes apart, it freezes maybe by that thick. They go ahead and lay them out by as wide as this room, maybe a little wider, some in the logs, and they have a chain the bottom logs together. And then on top, they lay down about 3 layers of logs on top. When the river, the frost goes down, they float them. They used to float them to, let's see, that river Roshen used to go that priest come from that country. You know, the priest, John come from that country. I can't think for a minute. You know that priest in that big father was now in Italy.
Oh, in Poland?
Poland.
Around Krakow?
Yeah, yeah. They would go to Poland, and from there they used to go to another river and go down to Germany. See? And Germany was the river over there where goes through the Suez, not the Suez Canal. You know the canal where the American soldiers crossed from England to
What, the English Channel?
the English Channel. And then they used to sell like this to different countries. I haven't been there.
Yeah. How tall were these trees that they were cutting?
Now approximately the trees is tall, make like the good size telephone poles.
About 20, 30, 40 feet?
Something like that.
Whenever did he just lay just 3 logs down with an opening to just 1 log high?
Where? On the thing where you float them out?
Well, no, whenever he was making the camp, he said he laid
Just 1 log.
just 1 log.
Yeah.
And
And that log, they set it on fire, and then they they build up on top, you know, that snow, and that protects it. I tell you one time, not too good, that wouldn't be right for repair. One time he come about 10 miles, a storm come out. A snowstorm from a little town home. Now, at night when snowstorm, you don't know where you go. So he took his sled. He had a long sled, about as big as this room.
about 8 feet.
Or something like that. When they turned it over against the storm, see, so that snow will hit this sled right here. He lay down behind and put the horse right in front of it. And lay there till daylight come out. Then he saw he just about a mile and a half or more. He couldn't see where he going. He couldn't see where north or south. It's just plain fields. See?
He built the snow up, how far from that log? How far away did they build the snow up?
Not very far. Not very far.
And they set the whole log on fire.
Yeah, see, they set it on fire.
And how long would
This
that
one.
burn, that log?
The log will burn for quite a while. You know, after the big fire come out, it just cold, the red coal and everything. But and that's what they use over there in the winter time to go to stay.
How much room was in where you slept and stayed warm?
Oh, I expect, you know, You take four loggers, like you mentioned, how many feet
Yep.
makes a pretty big
Yeah, about
place.
40 feet long then.
Yeah,
So
that's
you had
right.
a good-sized room in there.
That's right.
Yeah. What was the name of the company he was cutting trees
I
for?
can't remember
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
I can't remember it. They used to come over there on high rod in the winter time because in the summertime it's hard to carry it. And this way they cut off, they take on sleds, they can take it to the river. The river is frozen. They build up the first platform. They build up about 3 layers on top, and here they go.
How many of those did they make, of those rafts?
I think just about 3 on top the first one.
And then how many of those would they build? Would they build just one, or would they build several of those?
The rafts,
Yeah.
anytime they build up some rafts, when the river, the ice is gone, they had just 2 men and go. I will show, give me the paper. See, here's the raft.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one man stays here in the front with a long, but that big a stick.
Yeah.
And he tries to go out in the middle of the river. If that starting is a bend in the river, he goes to this side, and guy said. And when he runs to this side, that fella runs to this side.
Do they just have the one raft, or do they have a raft behind it too?
Maybe not too close.
But how far behind would the next raft be?
Well, maybe gonna be about 3 or 4 miles, because maybe the river is fast and something happened, then the river, they couldn't stop it. Now, in the middle, they had a hole. And to stop it at night, see a hole in that middle. They used to have a log, sink it down that way, and that log started raining like an anchor in a boat. And when we won't start in the morning, I went a couple times on it. You cut it off, and see that keeps on going.
So you just cut that log off and...
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
What in life? Well, you know, I went one time with my dad and some uncle, going to Poland, and we go by a week. And then they take us over there, and we come in a boat. They had a boat on top of it, we roll back. Well, you know, when you go down, you know, in the north we have this kind of fish, where have teeth. What do you call that fish? You know, we have in the northern part.
Pike?
No, that's not a pike.
Um,
You know, they have big teeth.
let me see.
I have seen in Canada.
All I can think of is it a salmon or
No, they have a special name for it, I
Yeah.
think. And when they get scared, they will jump up on, on top. I had something to hit in the head, so we had fish to cook.
Is that what you ate on the trips?
We get some fish and some we didn't have to bring because it was easy for us to get
Yeah.
fish.
Is there a fish called a walleye?
Yeah, walleye.
Walleye, yeah.
That's right. Walleye fish. You know, they have big teeth. And that's the same kind of fish. That's a northern fish.
So you took the raft down to Poland,
Yeah,
and where did you get off in Poland?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. And then you had the boat that you rowed back with.
We rode back.
Just you and your father?
Yeah, I could help him. Now I was too small to guide. Now I was going just maybe make a trip with them for a week. Try to cook. See, we used to build up with clay and knob on top of it. But we used to have some wood, and put in and heat it and cook it. See? On top of that raft, we take some clay and we build up like where we put some small piece of wood like this and cook it. So I used to help to cook the meal or something like that.
What else did you eat besides walleye?
Well, of course, Jews Jews couldn't eat meat but to buy from the thing. If we had some kosher meat, we took some kosher meat like lamb or meat. If not, we had some fish, all kind of fish.
Did you ever kill any meat along the way?
No, we're not allowed. Jews not allowed to kill it. A rabbi is supposed to kill our meat. When my father, or here, for instance, we eat all kind of meat. We eat because we even go to the synagogue. No, they're not as religious.
Yeah.
No, over there they used to be religious.
You said the logs would be stacked about 3 high on the raft?
Yeah, they used to lay down. See, the chains was big chains. When the chains was going around this way, all the same, like this way.
Yeah.
See? When the chains, they drove a few spikes in the logs, so the chains, when they made it tight, they tied together with twisted, to tie together. And on top of this, and even if they're not too tight, the weight of the other one weighs it down.
Are they crisscrossed? Are they?
No, right straight, the same way.
Yeah. Oh, the same way. Okay.
The same way. See, here like this is that thing. When they lay down, they look the same way. Even if not too tight, the weight of this thing made it tighter and tighter.
How many logs total would you have in the raft?
I can remember, not this same every so often. For instance, the first used to be maybe the same kind amount of log put near. It was the bottom. Then you take about 2 or 3 logs less.
Yeah.
So it will come to a top, not its weight. Because if you made them straight, wouldn't be good.
Yeah. How much was your father paid for each tree he cut?
Not very much, I don't know. It's just a little living, and that's all,
Where was your father born?
He was born there in that village.
Is that the village of Roshen?
Yeah.
Was your mother born there also?
No, she was born by next village. I don't know what the name of that village is.
Do you know when the Jews first came to that area?
Oh, they come to there. See, the history of the Jews. I have to go history, ancient history. When they got away from Israel, about 2,000 years after Jesus was born, they lived over there under the Romans when Jesus was born. See, and they lived about 200 years. Then when they who drove out the Romans, in the ancient history, I can't think.
Yeah, they were the Babylonians.
Something like that.
Yeah.
All right. The most of the Jews who they went to Spain. Then they lived in Spain about 200 years. In Spain, they had the Inquisition. You know what the Inquisition is?
Yes.
From there they went to not Germany, we were talking that canal will go through.
Oh, France?
France. From France they spread out to Germany. And they lived, and this reason our Yiddish is a mixed up German. See? And from there they went over to Russia. So maybe 500 years or more
Yeah.
they lived there.
Hmm.
Und then they, when Nikolai the Great and all this Russia start, divide Russian, they was a small country. Then they started taking in over there the different countries. Of course, they take in the Jews with him, and some of the Jews they made soldiers out of it. You know, that's ancient history.
Okay, you mentioned that when you first started the school, you had your nose broken because you wouldn't cross yourself when you went to school.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw. Maybe it would be against the Christian religion.
Was that in Odessa or Roshen?
Odessa.
Odessa. You remember the name of the school?
No, just a Catholic school.
Yeah.
They didn't add the names.
Okay. Also, you mentioned that there was a word about the highest religion in the country was Pravoslavia.
Yeah, that's a, see, a Russian don't say I'm a Christian, I'm a Pravoslavian.
You know how to spell that word?
No, I don't believe. No, I could find it out.
Yeah.
I will find out every
Okay.
word for that. A Pravoslavian is in Russian. For instance, if he come and mention on Christmas, Pravoslavny, that means Jesus rose in Russian. See? Like you say Christmas. Christmas means Jesus rose. Pravoslavny. Yeah, Jesus rose. And the other fellow will say, Da, Pravoslavny. Yeah, he rose. See? Now that's the same like you said here. You will say to a Christian, Christos voskres, or something like that. You know, Jesus, Christos voskres is in Greek. Or Christos voskres, or Pravoslavny, the Russians say Pravoslavny. So that's what it is. And they will answer Christos, shake hands, Christos voskres, a Greek will tell you on Christmas. He said, Ashor voskres, something like that, I forgot the name. He answered, Monsieur, he rose. You know, that's the different, when you go in to different countries, they pronounce Jesus different.
Yeah. Who were your grandparents? Who were your grandparents? Did you know them?
Well, I knew my grandfather, my father's father.
What was his name?
You know, I wrote to my fella to remember, see, I didn't see him for some of them years. And he was died pretty young.
What was your father's middle name?
Now, my middle name is Abraham.
Yeah. Because you said the son always takes...
Yeah. Avram, I don't know, Shlema or something like that. I'm going to try to find out.
Okay.
You write out all that, the questions. When I talk to them, and said they will give me all the information you want.
Oh, I was going to ask, how long would you be out in the woods cutting the trees? How many days or
Oh,
weeks?
about 5 days.
5 days?
Yeah.
Would this be enough money to get you through the winter?
We used to make a living because we had our own couple cars, and we used to raise everything ourselves. We had, when my father was there in the village, he had, about 7 acres where we raised everything. And we raised one time tomatoes Nobody was afraid to eat.
Why?
Oh, somebody brought, it was the later date when I was already a big boy. We went to a big town like to Odessa or somewhere, who was already tomatoes, start to grow on tomatoes. Now they don't know what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was listening on the radio on the other day, they have lots of vegetables in California. Well, for a while we didn't want to eat them. Now they sell them. When I noticed Caesar, when in one of, I was talking to my nephew, when they have the same vegetables, what they raise them now in Israel.
Mm-hmm. In the town of Roshen, you said your house was made of logs.
Yeah.
Was the barn attached to the house?
The barn for the cars
Mm-hmm.
was a little farther away.
Was there, in the wintertime, how did you get from the house to the barn?
Well, we used to take the snow and get a way, go through the snow. See, the snow like we had here in some places, get by 3 or 4 or 5 feet. So we used to.
So that gave you protection to go.
Got to that.
Yeah.
No, you take a cafe bone, for instance, and gonna be by 10 below 0, 15, and we're afraid she wouldn't stand the weather over there. We bring in the house.
What kind of floor did you have in the house?
Dirt.
Dirt floor. Mm-hmm.
And the oven, we had a big oven, like from here to the window.
About 8 feet.
Yeah, something like that. And we used to fire some wood in it.
How big was the house?
Well, our house altogether was about as big as if you would make this apartment.
It was pretty good. How many rooms did it have?
Just one room.
Just one big room.
Yeah.
So it was probably what, about 40,
Something like that.
40 feet square or something like
Yeah,
that?
just one room.
What kind of furniture did you have in the house?
Handmade furniture. Our bed was this way. You see like that the van
Mm-hmm.
was going from one wall to the oven. When we sleep, on that long, when we had the mattress but the head mattress has straw, and there where we sleep. Now when kids was, kids, more than this, we had this on the floor. Used to have the straw. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the room was like a basket, but that big, made out of wire. And we used to burn, we didn't have gasoline or nothing. So we used to burn that's right. That pine, we used to get the nuts.
Yeah, pine knots.
Pine nuts. And that has lots of rosin in it. Mm-hmm. We used to lay them down in that basket and burn. And was a thing going out like a chimney through the roof. And that smoke used to go down there. Made out of clay.
It was made out of clay?
Yeah, and burned. Like you make out of clay, your tiles.
Yeah.
Was going out through the roof, and going out that smoke from that house, what was burned, was thrown off.
Did that come all the way down to the oven or the basket?
Yeah. Well, here is the basket. We used to the smoke go up over there.
Was the oven open, or what was the oven made of?
The oven made out of clay.
It was clay.
Yeah.
How thick were the walls?
Pretty thick on the roof. The oven, about that thick. Over there, we children used to get on top of the dome because it was warm.
How high was the oven?
Oh, not very high, by high as a person.
Yeah, about 5 feet,
Yes,
6 feet high.
Yeah.
And I guess you burned wood in the oven?
We burned wood, now see, and on Sabbath, we didn't allow to burn it. You know, the religious Jew not allowed to light a candle, you know, according to our religion. The religious Jews here in Tulsa, but they don't light a candle. But they wouldn't ride that automobile to synagogue. They walk. So my mother used to put in ovens, you know, everything was made out of clay and burned all the same like you make it here. And put it in the oven and close it, the oven, and it stayed warm. And then we eat in the morning.
Was the oven made out of clay bricks, or was it just a solid wall of clay?
I think I didn't see any bricks over there. We started seeing bricks when we got to Odessa.
Yeah, so it was just more or less a solid clay wall.
Clay.
Yeah, the four walls of the oven.
And they put some fire in it, and that heats up the clay, and the clay, they had a good clay for it.
How big was the door of the oven?
Not that big.
3 or 4 feet across?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was it a hinged door, or was it just
No. The door was made of kind of like iron or something like that. We used to just go up over there.
Did your mother bake in that oven?
Yeah, everything.
What did she put, like the bread or whatever she baked in the oven?
All right. You heat the oven, you take that ashes and the coal, and you take it out to one side. Or take it out to a place, a special place about that big. The oven is hot. And she just take on that thing about that long and put on that bread and set it in the oven and wait till it bakes. Then she used to pick up and bring it up.
What was the thing made of that she set the bread on?
The thing out of wood.
Okay, did she have a shelf that she set the bread on in the oven?
No, right in the oven. She used to clean out the dishes.
Yeah. So you just set it right on the bottom of the oven?
Yeah, bottom of the oven.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you remember some of the different dishes of food your mother cooked when you were a child, your favorite dishes?
Well, fish and, of course, all kind Jewish dishes what you have here.
About the same type of food that...
food where you, like when you come here to an old farmer, he had a special food what they cooked all the time. You hear farmers.
What was your favorite food that your mother cooked?
Well, I don't know. I was a kid. I was hungry for everything.
Did you go fishing? Did you catch most of the fish for the family?
Yeah, fish was easy to catch. We take posts. We take this way. That's my hand. All right. Fish will go in that compartment where the posts are built. They can go out. When they come here, it's just a narrow space. See? They could go in, and they stay there. Then we come out in the morning and pick it up.
So it's something like it's kind of a narrow mouth?
That's right. And see, wider in the front. Yeah. See, like this. They will come in and go in.
What kind of fish were they? Were they the walleye?
We had the walleye, and we had like not pike as you have here in the rivers. We have different kind of fish.
How wide, at the widest part, how wide was that where the fish went in? And
no, not big. The fish, the walleye, they about that wide. We used to make them so little wider, a little bit narrow like they are, and they will go in.
And then when the fish get in, how big is the area?
But they ain't gonna find their place out.
Yeah.
They will go around and around. They would know if they squeeze through, they could go out. They just go around and around and around.
Okay, and the narrow part is what, 6, 7, 8 inches wide?
Well, something like that, but it's
Then
big.
when they get in, how wide is it?
Oh,
The
no.
space.
Maybe not very wide. Maybe gonna be about that wide.
Oh, just 3 or 4
Yeah,
feet.
just in that. Then we go out from top and we can get them out.
Now, was it just made of poles stuck in the river?
You know, one time what happened? I was a kid. Now this is just incident. My father used to cut hay on in swamp land. You know, like here in Louisiana, you cut it, you put up in swamp land, you could put up, let it stay there. Then when it freezes over, you used to go in a sled and bring it over. Hey, you know, pick it up. They was not baled. A stack of hay. See, you used to have a platform for it. And leave it the hay till the frost come. Then he could go on a sled and pick it up and bring it home and stack it at home for the cows to eat and the horses to eat. One time, he says, for me to go down with him, he gonna pick up hay. It's frozen over. We come up and it was a little creek. There to cross the creek was about as big as this room.
Yeah, about 8 feet, something.
Oh, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And we have to cross the creek. Used to be in the summertime we could cross it with a raft. Now this reason we wait till winter till freezes over, we wouldn't have to put on a raft. And by gosh, you know what will happen? You take a fish when it's frozen, they will get together in one place and they will break the ice if the ice is not too thick. And when we come, he says to me, Leva, look at the fish, it's bubbling out on top. See, when they broke through, they tried to get air. See, the fish needs that air is a human. When they get together, and the ice was maybe started getting thin, and they went too, so he went, and start again, now they had like a scoop out and throw them in. And we come with a load of fish. Next day he took over to the fish, I don't know, but some settlement took over. He had some fish. No.
This area where you caught the fish, they went in the narrow opening, was that just made of poles stuck in the river?
Yeah, just all the same like here my fingers.
Yeah,
Walleye.
yeah, just poles, yeah, okay.
They can go out. A little fish will go out, the bigger fish. Now, did I tell you how we killed bears?
Yeah, but tell me again.
Now, a Jew wouldn't kill it. See? No, my father used to buy the skins of them after they get. But see, in the winter time, a bear hibernates, the same as here, same as in Canada. And I told you the beehives they used to have in things protect because even at home you couldn't do the thing with the bear. They didn't have rifles and shotguns. They didn't have that.
Why?
Because they didn't, in that time they didn't have it over there. The only one that had it is the military, and they used to buy it from Germany. See, Russia didn't manufacture that yet. If they started manufacturing, they started the German manufacturing for the soldiers. So they didn't have rifles. And everything they have to get with their head. figure out how to. And I will tell you how they get the wild hogs, wild deer. For instance, the bear. They know that the bear hibernate, and they see that bear will make a good fur, an old bear, and they wear fur. The fur they make it, they tan it themselves, and they turn on the meat side, outside, inside of the fur. So when they put on, all the fur is inside. Not like here, the ladies have the fur outside. So a fellow will take one dog with him. And he saw that bear hibernate maybe 2 miles from his home, or 3 miles. He saw him. He take a dog and come to and picks out a tree, but that wide a tree, a big tree, like this thing, maybe wider. And he tells the dog start barking at the bear. And the bear will come out from the hibernation. He disturbs him. And when he disturbs him, he has some sticks or anything and throws at that bear. And the bear comes after him. Now a bear can walk straight, run. You know, that's why if you notice in the park, watch a bear walk.
Now that's when he's up on his hind feet?
No, on his 4 feet.
Yeah.
When he gets to the tree, he gets up on his hind feet. He can turn around. He can walk around this way. And when he turns around, he cuts his stomach with it. He has a spear on the stick about that long, sharp on both sides. And he sticks him in his stomach, and he keeps on going till he falls down. Then he kills him. Yeah. Now, hogs, you know how the wild hogs they have? In the wintertime, he takes a bunch of dogs, a bunch of thing where you eat hogs. And he saw a bunch of wild hogs, and they started driving with dogs, drive them on a lake where there's no snow. A hog, when he gets scared on the lake, he falls down on the side. What he does, he can't get up. He just goes out and kills him.
What about the deer?
The deer, he will drop them out when he gets the first size, where the eyes is sharp. And he starts to drive him, and they hurt, and the eyes cut their feet. And then he kills him.
Now, were the Jews allowed to kill these animals?
No, we couldn't kill deer. We could kill a deer if a rabbi could kill.
Now, did the rabbi kill the animals, or?
No. We have to get him alive, not hurt. If he's hurt, we're not allowed to kill him. That's according to our religion.
In your house in Roshen, what kind of meat did you eat?
What
kind of meat were you allowed to eat
well,
in the house?
We used to kill cows, and cows for to stop milking. Or we used to kill, if we had a bull calf, we don't need him. We used to go out and get a rabbi to kill him.
Do you have lamb? Lamb?
Yeah, we used to have lamb.
Was that your main meat, the beef and lamb?
Yeah.
Beef, lamb, and fish?
Yeah.
How did your mother preserve food?
Well, in the summertime, we didn't preserve food very much. The only thing we used to preserve is you know that juice where you take out trees, not pine trees. You know, I buy that.
What, the syrup?
Syrup.
Maple syrup?
Maple syrup.
Yeah.
No, we used to get lots of that from white birch. You see white birch. White birch. It is not as sweet like the maple syrup. No, we used to get a whole lot. We used to have lots of barrels and get some of the maple, that white syrup, you know, the juice, you know, just like water, and put it in the barrels. And we used to take about that thick oak branch and stay it in, and that's make it like Alka-Seltzer. You know, has a shot like you going to have Alka-Seltzer, drink, and that's what you drink it.
So you drank the syrup of the white birch?
Yeah, we could keep it in not in the house, in the off house. We used to have next to the house a cold house.
How much syrup would you have in that barrel?
You know, like the whiskey barrels.
Yeah. Did your mother preserve any meat at all?
No. See, the Jews, you take Jews, if they keep meat over 8 days, they have to go ahead and put in water and wash it. And then they have to do it. Because we're not allowed to eat meat after 3 days not to be washed again in water. Because maybe, you see, all our religion is made at years ago with cleanness. When if meat in a house stays 3 days, you don't have the refrigeration like that. In the winter time, even 2, they go according to the law. Now in the winter time they could keep longer, see? Now in the summertime you couldn't. And that's why you don't. In the winter time you could freeze it. Because according to our law is cleanliness. All the same, I expect I told you. The Gentiles baptize. You know how the Jews do. Don't you know that?
No.
A religious Jew goes and baptizes himself every Friday before he goes to the synagogue.
Every Friday, okay.
You know, we have in our synagogue a baptized place. Some religious Jew, they will come and baptize, and then they will go home, or maybe a year, and then they will come to synagogue. You know, a Jewish woman, according, I will tell you by my religion, a Jewish woman not allowed to go when she ministrates with her husband. She has to go out and take a shower, a bath. Then she has to go out in a Baptist place and go there 3 times under the water. Then she could come home and she could have an intercourse with her husband. I don't know, lots of people think baptizing. Now, before we had, when they was in Israel, everybody went to Jordan to be baptized because he could put in his foot in the temple. Of course, according the way I listen on the radio, Paul took Jesus in the Jordan to be baptized. Jesus was about 30-some years old. He had to be baptized every time he went to a temple. Why they baptize? Because he has to be clean when he comes into a temple.
Okay. Now, when they baptize, did they totally immerse themselves, or?
Immerse 3 times.
Yes. Good.
There is lots of fellows says, I'm reborn. That lady voice for me, she had an uncle. He was reborn. He went to the Baptist church and got baptized. If he would be a Jew before he went close to the synagogue. Of course, we don't believe in that now. We got away from this See, not all this thing is made for cleanliness. That was sensible. Because if you tell him, you will die, God will take you away, oh, well, don't care. No, I will tell you, you couldn't come to church if you don't do it. If you don't go out and come and sleep with your wife, that's a different.
In the town of Roshen,
Yeah.
was everyone of the town Jewish in Roshen?
No.
No.
No. Yeah, we had some towns, all Jews.
Mm-hmm. What was the rabbi's name in Roshen?
The same like they call him here, Rav.
I mean, what was his name? Like you have Rabbi Khan here.
Well, I don't know the name. Everyone had a different name, and I can remember.
Was it just one rabbi in Roshen?
Well, no, we have it. Every synagogue had a rabbi.
How many synagogues were in Roshen?
Oh my gosh! You take in Dallas, we have 3 big synagogues where I was telling you over there I was protecting.
Yeah, they're in Odessa.
Odessa, but it's bigger like you have in Tulsa or in Oklahoma City.
What about in the town you were born? What about in Roshen where you were born?
We didn't have a synagogue because we were just about 9, 10 people. So we used to pray in a place, and some during the holidays was in smaller towns, maybe 2 or 3 Jews, and they come over, and we have to have 10 to be born.
Be what?
To have a, what you call like, you have all the same, like you have someone in 10, we can start to, we could say a prayer for ourselves, or say a prayer, or read the Torah. We have to have 10 people, a quorum.
A quorum, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they used to come from another town. We used to have a quorum.
What did you pray in Roshen when you had 10 people?
The same like if we pray here. The same.
I mean,
prayer.
would you be in someone's home?
Yeah, somebody's home.
Yeah. Okay.
Somebody, maybe he had, maybe he was a blacksmith, and he had more work, and he, that's his business and done good business, and he had a bigger home, and we prayed in his home.
Did the town of Roshen just have one street, or how many streets did the town of Roshen have?
Depends according to the village. They have more streets, bigger the village, bigger the little town. Maybe someday town gonna be 100 people live in it.
How many people lived in Roshen?
Russia in that time was, when I was there, I expect about 5 million.
And what about your town? Where you were
My town was just about 9 Jewish people, 9 families.
And how big was the whole town of Roshen? How many people lived in the town total?
In that town, I expect we had maybe all the Christians, when they had one church, Orthodox Catholic Church,
Yeah.
not the Catholic. And I expect over there was about 45 people, families. When they had the pick out fellas, well, one fella or 2 fellas go around in daytime at night and watch the town, on a kind of fire or kind of wolves or something like that, protect the town.
You say, was there a town crier?
Huh?
Was there a town crier, was there a man walking guard at
God,
night?
yeah, For instance, you go today, you see, they give you a stick, and they give you the stick. Of course, you always wear a knife and a hatchet on the side. A Russian never goes in daytime at night without a hatchet, a small hatchet here, and a knife, in a pocket, and of course, And there's another thing, never will go without. You know that flint where you make fire? You know flint.
Right.
You could make fire. When they used to get off it from trees that, you know, grows on side of a tree.
Yeah, the rosin out of the pine trees or whatever.
You know that, you know, rose, just rose on side of a pine tree, on side tree.
Yeah.
And when it dry, he has one of them, when he puts to that flat, and heats it, and makes a fire, and starts to burn, then he lights his pipe. Or he lights his fire where he's where he's in the woods. He takes some dry leaves and blows it, lays that thing, sip and blows, get the fire, then he starts the fire. You go out hunting or go.
So we had a piece of flint and a piece of steel or iron to
Yeah, yeah. You know, a piece of iron.
Yeah.
See? Not, he take that piece of iron, the dynamite like this, and that flint this way.
Yeah.
When he has here that...
that rosin or...
no, that's not rosin. That's all the same like a bunch of cotton, what grows on a tree some wild in the woods.
Oh, kind of...
You know, he all the same like a dry mushroom or something.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you kind of dry.
Yeah.
You see, this guy, when he take that flint and hold it, here he holds that, the flint this, and with that thing where he carries it, and he sticks it out. And that makes it the light, and that lights it. Then he blows it, gets it bigger, and he takes a bunch of dry leaves, and blows it and makes a fire.
Did your father smoke a pipe? Did your father smoke a pipe?
Yeah.
Where did he get his tobacco?
They raised that.
They raised it?
Yeah.
Was there a store in Roshen where you were, the town you were raised in?
No, we had a little store in a little village over there about 15 miles. But they have some, you know, but they, you know, different salted fish and things like that, but they make it. Or like things, but they like barbecue meat, something.
Whenever the Tsar gave the land to the German family to hunt on, you know,
the Tsar didn't give to the German. They give to the German too. Now from them, now they give to the Russian, but just went to the army. In that time, during the Nikolai II, after Peter the Great, for instance, if you had a boy, you have to send him to the army, and sometime they will take him, about 10, 12 years old. And he gonna be in the army maybe about 10 or 12 years. And then when they tear him loose, after 10 or 12 years, when he goes where his father and mother used to live, and they give him a piece of land.
But the land that your town was on, wasn't that whole area given?
Given to, see, this was in front of the big forest of Russia. See, in this time, the Russian all the same like the English, they used to marry royalties.
Yeah.
When they used to marry royalties from Germany.
Yeah, Alexandra from.
Yeah, that's right. When they, so when they got married, when that one of the royalties had some more royalties and come to hunt, so they used to come to hunt a bear. They had rifles. They built a platform. When they sit on the platform and drink and smoked, and when a bear come up close, they shot him. Or some kind of animal, what they wanted.
You ever see them when they came hunting?
And I saw him going through the village. I never was allowed to come over there. But they built a platform between trees.
What was the German's name that came over there? You know what the German's name was that came over there?
I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
They some royalty, they had their own name.
Why did your family move to Odessa after they gave the land to the Germans?
Well, we have to make a living, couldn't leave.
Did most everybody in your town move to Odessa?
The whole town, they give, the Russian, give some land farther away from the forest, but they give it to the German. They give them some more land. The Jews, they didn't. So the Jews have to move away.
Were they giving this land to the people that were in the army?
See, they give that land for them to come and hunt.
Yeah, okay.
So they say, I will give you this land, for instance, this candy or so, all this land here is yours.
How much land are they giving?
I don't know how much they give me.
Where did the Christians move in your town?
See, they moved away, they give them some more land farther away on the other side.
But they didn't give the Jews any land?
No.
And how did you move from the town to Odessa?
To Odessa, in a wagon, we had gone about 50 miles to railroad.
What did you pack to take with you?
Oh, we packed everything we could take with us, you know.
What happened to the town of Roshen?
Which one?
The town that you were raised in.
That was given up for playground for that priest. When he wanted to come, that was his. I expect the Tsar has got, nobody could come on this place.
So did they stay in the town then, the Germans, the royal
They
family?
didn't stay all the time. They went to Germany.
Yeah.
Anytime we want to go like a recreation.
What year was that?
We moved, I moved away from there. Let's see, I was born, I was 13 years old when I moved away to Odessa.
It's about 1903,
Yeah, something like that. Let's see. Now, I was born in 1911.
Yeah, 1888.
Yeah, that's right.
So it would have been,
1888.
if you were 13, 88, 98, about 1902?
Or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Whenever you went to Palestine,
Yeah,
when you were a fireman on the ship,
yeah.
do you remember the name of the boat that you worked on?
My gosh, you know, the other day I was trying to think. I was at Wilson's. Let's say I worked in Breslav, and I come on that boat. I'm going to think about it. Breslav is the town I worked. And from Breslav, I start out, that's over there, the sea comes out. Comes out.
Was the boat named Breslau?
No, the town was Breslav. Not Pochomkin. Pochomkin was, that's the Russian boat.
Yeah, that was where the revolution started.
Yeah, that started. That boat was sunk in the First World War. But
Now, when you first went to Palestine, when the Turks put you back on the boat,
yeah,
what was
see
the
the
name?
Turks.
Yeah, what was the name of that boat?
Well, that's the boat I come.
The same boat then.
Yeah. See, we stayed over there to unload.
No, but didn't they send you back to Russia and you were put in the army?
They put on the boat, of course. That's the only way for me to go.
Yeah.
I couldn't swim.
But that was the same boat.
Yeah, the same
Yeah.
boat.
Who owned those boats?
The boats used to belong to private, in that time, to private people.
You know who owned them?
No. Just private people, a company, all the boats.
Did they live in Odessa? That owned the boats?
No. Yeah, from Odessa, these fellas, they own boats, companies, like here, when they take wheat to Germany, not to Germany, to Greece and Italy, and take the peasants, made trips to go to the Holy Land.
Okay, then you came here in 1911 to Galveston.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in Galveston?
In Galveston, I was over there till late in the night, because I think early in the morning, because my brother wired me a ticket to the thing for buy my meal.
Had Dallas been rebuilt from that big storm? You know, there was a big hurricane hit Dallas a few years before that.
No, Galveston was hit.
Yeah, had it been rebuilt?
Yeah, was in that time, was Galveston. No, Dallas didn't have the big storm like Galveston had, the flood.
And when you said you had to borrow the money to show them you had the money to get off the boat,
Yeah.
who'd you borrow the money from?
I don't know. A friend of mine was come on the boat. They had little money with them.
Oh, just some friends of yours on the boat.
On the boat, the Jewish fellas. I can't remember their name.
Did they work on the boat?
No.
They
had the money. I worked part-time.
Oh, they were coming to America.
To America.
Okay, yeah.
That's all.
And of course, you worked for Justin. Did you know Mr. Justin? The book company?
I know him more than I knew you, because we worked together.
What kind of man is Mr. Justin?
He was not very big man, very fine fella. He was in the United States many years.
Where was he from?
He was from Germany.
Germany?
So is Tandy.
Why did Mr. Justin start making boots?
He was a bootmaker in Germany, like myself.
What part of Germany did he come from?
I don't know.
Do you remember the man's name that took you to Ardmore to work?
No, I can think that name. I think many times. I can think, because so many years goes by, names so many. No, I worked over there 6 months.
In Ardmore?
Yeah. When I come, when he had, I think, about 50-some pair of boots, when we had a horse and buggy, he had very good horse, a nice buggy, and we had the boots, and we come to Haskell. We drove to Haskell. I think we stay out somewhere to rest the horses. When Haskell had 3 banks. Haskell was a big town, 3 banks. There was a rodeo there. That's the only place that had a rodeo, because they could draw a crowd.
That's south of here, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where was the shop you worked in Ardmore? Where was the shop located?
I can't remember. It was a street kind, not the main street.
Ever hear of Caddo Street in Ardmore?
I may heard.
I heard that's where they had all the beer joints and...
I expect the most popular street or something.
Yeah. Okay.
You was there, I expect.
Ever hear of Ragtown? Down by Ardmore? Where they had the oil fields?
No. Ardmore in that time, I didn't know if they had the oil fields over there or not. I never have seen it. I think the oil fields come later. The oil fields come to Oklahoma first.
I was going to ask,
Yeah.
when you first decided to come to America,
Yeah.
How did you travel from Odessa to Germany?
To Germany?
Yeah.
We could go over there in trains.
So you went by train
By train.
to Breslau?
See, when I served 3 years, they give me a passport. I lost that passport, the Russian passport, I expect about 3 or 5 years ago. I don't know what become of it.
Did you find your little knife?
No, I didn't. I'll bet you it's somewhere here under this. I wouldn't take anything.
Well?
Oh, well, memories is good.
Your memory's very good. Anything else about Russia, about your childhood?
Well, now this is the childhood of that gone in the forest, living whole lot. And you know, coming to thinking, I think about the baptizing. I didn't know. I know my mother, I was the oldest son, and was about a mile and a half to the river. In the summertime, she used to go to the river to baptize, because I didn't know then, I know now, she got through ministry. So I used to go with her. She used to go down and baptize in that river. In the winter time, I know she used to every month go to a little town. They had a baptizing place in the little synagogue.
Yeah.
So, you know, people will tell you about things about their religion. You start to compare them, but it's the same thing. You know, Sister Rita, you met her.
I've met her.
She is dear to me. I don't know who is more dear. She come day before yesterday and say I had a pacemaker.
Yeah.
When she comes here, I don't have to go to the hospital to check it every 3 months. So she come in and says, Louis, today I told the hospital I'm going to check her pacemaker. You know how she checks it? She puts on a clamp here, a clamp there, on these 2 fingers. And puts in that thing on the telephone. All the same like the telephone takes up.
Yeah.
When she tells them on before, all right, I got it on telephone. When they check it in the hospital, then she calls up, and then she puts in another thing like this, and she listens. And they tell her I'm all right. Now I tell you what's happened. That was between me and you. I don't want it, nobody else.
Okay.
We was talking. He says, you know that lady, she went to a doctor. She's not here today or tomorrow. I told her to go to the doctor again. She may have fish or maybe something else with her breast. So she went to a doctor today again. So I told her if she comes from the doctor day after tomorrow, Saturday, when she says she don't have no cancer in her breast, you and I will go and have some. You know we have a big fish market on the north side. We will go ahead and have some fish.
Good. That sounds good.
Wait a minute, the terrible sign was not that way. She says, Louis, he says, I was thinking to take you to dinner. I was thinking, no, we ain't gonna have fish. I say, why? He says, you could eat fish even on Friday. He says, you know, I don't tell nobody. No, I hate fish. I can't stand fish when I cook fish. I started laughing. He said, what are you laughing? I have a story. I don't know. I shall tell it to none or not. He said, go ahead and tell it. She's this kind of person. She's very nice and takes everything. You see when she come in here and comes in to visit me every day, come in, hi, King Louis. That's what she calls me. I say, Sister Rina, you know, one time a Jew was converted. So, of course, to the Catholic Church. So he went in, and the Catholic does the praying, you know, made him pray, kneel, and then he sprinkled him with water, you know. And he said, the last of the prayer, he said, was a Jew, now a Catholic. See? He says, maybe in a month or later, the Jew want to invite the priest. So invite him to his home. No, he couldn't get any fish on his own Friday. So he decided, I'm going to do the same what the Pope done to me. He cooked a roast, and he come, when the Pope sat down, he brought him the roast on the table. He said, he called him by his name. He says, you know, today is Friday. I'm not supposed to eat fish. He said, I done the same thing you done. I said, I sprinkled it and prayed it, and he said, was a steak, now is a fish. It come in my mind, I couldn't help but to tell her. When I excused myself, I sorry, maybe you couldn't appreciate it or something. And she got the biggest slap in the world. He says, I done it. He says, I done it. The same like you done it to me.
That's right.
I find out this I ought not do it right about him. When you had it, I would like you, I and Tony, and you go over if everything we could go.
Okay.
Now, why shouldn't I give you permission? You done lots for me. You run around, I didn't know it, you run around all over the country and get a congressman or a governor. Send me a beautiful thing, but I make thinking was, I'm going to send one to Russia.
Good.
Then I will send. I'm going to send to Israel. I'm going to send. No, but the weather was bad. I didn't make anything.
But I need your permission to do it, to write a book.
All right. You have everything from your uncle, from the first fellow you come over there. I don't know if over 2 years ago in the hospital. Till the last fellow you brought in, everything you said, but just as I would say it myself to me. With being me elected over there, I know that's up to you and up to lots of people. I know lots of people will give me, like for instance, I told them, what they call Wilson Glass. Well, I know him when I was a year old. Wilson Glass, we didn't have a synagogue here. See, he's not here yet because he took me when Tony couldn't go. And next morning, his son's wife had a baby in California. So, if not, he would be here. I want him to meet you. I met him here when he was 15, in 1915. I come 14, 1915. I got acquainted with his father. You know where Denver is. 500 block north Denver, that was their farm. See? And I live just a block from their farm. with the shoemaker I worked for it. And they laid off in lots. And a glass apartment used to be here. And the library apartment used to own. So I got acquainted with his father. And after the war, I had a shop with a fellow on Main Street, rented to Charlie Page, from Charlie Page. And I was very dear with Charlie Page. Charlie Page in that time lived Olympia on 3rd Street. You know, it's a big home on the corner.
Olympic and 3rd?
Yeah. That's the northeast corner. Now he had already started building a home for him in Sand Spring when he started. And I rented from him. And on Sundays, I used to take the train, used to go down there and help to feed the fish in the big lake, in that Sand Spring Lake. Have you ever been there? And I, Charlie Page, we were so close. He liked me. See? So, in that time, where is over there is a big place, about 3 miles on this side, Sand Spring. What they call that? There's a town there now. He says, Louis, I could sell you that land. That land, I don't know, maybe about 40 or 50 acres. No, I saw was the river used to overflow there. I said, I don't want it. I didn't want to buy it. He was pretty give it to me. Not in a sense enough. No, that's all right. I had a good life with him. So, what did I start to tell you?
About Charlie Page and...
Well, that fellow over there about Wilson.
Yeah, and the synagogue.
But Wilson. I tell you, I was at Wilson over there. Yet, that's right, Wilson's father, they didn't have the synagogue. The synagogue was built in 1916. I told you a story when my father, when we go to a church rather than go to a saloon. And that was so I got acquainted. I said, well, what church you belong? He says, I'm a Christian Science. That's what they are. When I go to a Christian Science church, and I was not a Mason then. He was a Mason. So I said, I would like to go down there. So I said, I'm going over there, I'm going. And I went down there several times. I went, then he started to believe in me. I started to rent the place. I ran the place on 3rd Street. He had the rent of it. Wilson Glass. No, his father. I can't think right now his name. He rented me for a shoe shop. But rented me. So Wilson Glass, when I was over there to eat, we were talking about it by his dad. His dad was talking when he was a little boy and so and so. And he was telling me stories. A story went hunting. He used to always go hunting, dog hunting. A fellow lost a jacket with the bullets in it, so he found so he can go up on a tree. So he can go up on a tree. And nobody took it, so he took it home. And when he threw that, he saw something hit hard. He took a look, and what in one package was a bottle of, I don't know, liquor. See? Because, you know, he's not supposed, he don't drink liquor medicine, see, Wilson Glass. So he says, so I said to my wife, that's a beautiful bottle, you could put some flowers in it. She says, oh, liquor was in that, I don't want the bottle. See? So he says, I throw down. You know, we were sitting at the table and two more fellas who I knew and put about for many years. We stick and laugh about it. I said, Wilson, you know, your church was, back up your church was a synagogue. You know, in 1916, they built it. And in that time, he says, when we still had the synagogue, if you didn't want drink in your church, why don't you go around to the synagogue and send out and drink? He laughed about that. So things like that come up.
Yeah.
When he said, I would like to meet Mr. Todd, I told him how you was working.
Yeah.
When he knew me when he was a year old.
Who were the men that organized the synagogue in 1916?
I couldn't tell you.
Did you help build it?
I donated as much as I could. I couldn't give very much. You know, in that time, I had a little place. I and a partner that's before the war.
Was that Mr. Burns that you worked for?
Burns, I worked for them.
Yeah.
I worked for them when I come here, a year and a half. Then I went in partnership. Then when I went to go to the army, signed in, when I went over there is a little old school where doctors examined me, and after the examiner, I was strong like a bull anyhow. And they say, well, I told them I have a shop I have to sell, so they give me 10 days to come be sworn in. And that fella on loans money, Engel.
Yeah.
Claude Engel.
Claude Engel.
Claude Engel on it. And I tell you, but Claude Engel, we was undressed and we become together. So when I come in and they give him 10 days to attend to it, I got sick and went to hospital. And I know who the doctor, when he died, his son is a doctor.
Is that Atkinson?
Atkinson. And I stayed in the hospital about 4 or 5 weeks. And when I come out, that was, I think was in March or in April when I signed up to go, got sick. Then the war was over in November, done it.
Right.
The war. And of course, I'll come out from the hospital and I recorded, says, no, you don't weigh enough. They say, they didn't swear me in. If I was sworn in a day before when the other fellow swore in, they would pay for my hospital.
Yeah.
And this way they didn't. And that was...
What was the man's name that ran the CC camp in Payne County? You know, that told you to put the application in to do the house. Was that Engel?
Engel.
Okay.
You see, in that time he worked for somebody.
Yeah.
When he worked for somebody, Engel, he's the one. When he's the one we got acquainted, on the rest, gone to the army.
Okay. Well, Mr. Kerbel, I need to head back to Oklahoma City. And I've enjoyed talking to you again.
I know you ain't gonna write a book on me, which has to print for it. And I say, if you will figure out I'm entitled to somebody, I'm gonna leave it to you. I don't know. I hope to God it comes out all right. And call me up anytime, day or night.
Well, I'll let you read it before it goes.
You just day and night call me up if you want something. And Tony gonna be the same way.
I'll let you and Tony read the manuscript before I do anything.
Well, I talked to Tony. He says, you just leave it to him.
Okay.
He says, we will see. So that's it.
Okay.
Now another thing, what shall I say? Often everything is all right. Thank God. I didn't pay my rent. You know, I tell you, everything is on my heart. Don't try to hide. I couldn't pay the rent last month. You see, Merrill Lynch, on the 100,000 I told you I have there, the toy timber come out. When they send me, come in Tuesday, you know, when they wrote from New York. I will show you. How much? I like to tell you, because when somebody's off the boat with me, I won't be with him the same way. And that's my life was that way. And thank God, I have so many friends.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk to Mr. Wilson, well, sorry, go tell him when I made him pair of shoes, when we was 2 years of boots, and I made him pair of boots when he used to ride in the boys, the horses. Mm-hmm. And we bought cattle together.
What kind of cattle?
I had a registered shorthorn. No, on the other farm, I had, let's see, whiteface, Hereford. And I tell you, a big man, it seems to me I'm lucky. I met, what is his name? Was a big millionaire here. I just talked to Wilson about him.
Skelly?
No. My gosh, he had the building over there, second Denver, where Tulsa building and walls was. I could think, no, don't make a difference, that name I could think. He was a big millionaire because his father-in-law was in the same thing, in the oil business, with that fellow I told you, donate me the 120 acres. You had it, I think.
Yeah.
His father-in-law, when they drilled in Glenpool, see, when they become millionaires. So his father-in-law, when I come here, I got acquainted with him, I made him pair of boots, when he had a farm on the other side, on the way to Pahosket. So I went for him, I say, on the other farm, I have 400 acres I had in that time, then I got 80 more acres. He says, I had some cattle, now I'm going to have to get me some bull. And he liked the bull so much, he said, wait a minute, you see that bull over there? I can't use him anymore, because he bred my cattle. He says, over there is my foreman.
Okay. Today is January 20th?
This is 21st.
21st, January 21st. 1987.
Yeah.
And this is Joe Todd, an interview with Frankie Lee in Claremore, Oklahoma.
Yeah. L-E-I-G-H.
Yeah, L-E-I-G-H. Where were you born?
Where was I born?
Yes, ma'am.
On the Black Gum Mountain.
And where's Black Gum Mountain?
Well, it's about, I imagine about 15 miles this side of Sallisaw. Was you ever around Vian?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it's not far from Vian back in the
Okay. And when's your birthday?
The 14th of March.
In
I was trying to, I looked the other day, but I never do say nothing about it. I don't like birthday cards. I don't like no big doings just over anything that way.
And you were born 1898.
Yeah.
Who was your father?
Samuel Holmes. He was Irishman.
And your mother?
She was a three-quarter Cherokee Indian.
What was her name?
Sally Fleetwood, before she married.
Sally Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Where was your mother from?
Well, she was born and raised at Salsa.
And you say she was three-quarter Cherokee.
Yeah, she's three-quarter Cherokee.
Did your grandparents on your mother's side come over the trail?
Well, my grandfather did. Yeah, my grandfather.
Did you know him?
Yeah, well, I about to know him. He comes to see me every so often.
What was his name?
Edward Fleetwood.
Did
He's
he?
buried down below Sallisaw. His tomb is standing there. He had 7 boys, and some of them was good and some of them was mean. He had about as mean. No, this feller owns this here. I was asking him, and I couldn't help but laugh. I thought after he found out who I was and where I was from, and he asked me, I told him I had a whole bunch of kinfolks in Sallisaw, but I just got one aunt living. I guess she is. I heard from her in 3 or 4 months. It's all I've got living. And it was 11 children of my bunch. My daddy married a woman in Missouri somewhere, and he got to want to scalp an Indian. He read about him scalping Indians, and he wanted to scalp one. So his wife died out there, and he come here to Hanson, if you know where Hanson is, and put up a blacksmith shop. He was a blacksmith for trade. And my mother got to come and bring in plows, different things for him to fix for her. And he said he finally got to where he liked her, and he decided he didn't want to scalp her. So he married her, and he had 4 children by her, and all of them's dead but me. I don't know.
Did your grandfather tell you stories about the trail?
Huh?
Did your grandfather tell you stories about the trail?
No. My grandfather on my mother's side, I was about 11 years old when he died. But his home is still standing down about 4 miles and a half down below Sallisaw. And his old home, and where he raised all his children, is still standing there.
How big of a house is it?
Oh, it was huge, big out. I just had about 6 or 7 rooms to it. It was back then, you know, when we first went to having flour milled, we didn't have to put the sacks. We had it put in barrels. When we go to buy flour, we'd buy flour by the barrel. We bought coffee by the barrel. About everything we bought it by the barrel.
Where did you buy it?
Well, we bought it at Sallisaw. Sallisaw was just a small, it wasn't. And I tell you something you ought to remember. The Mayo brothers lived there, and they run a big store till all of the generation died off. But the old store is still there.
Was that the Mayo store?
Yeah, the Mayo store. Yeah, we had to have 1 room to put barrels of flour and coffee and sugar and salt and everything like that back then.
What did Sallisaw look like in those days?
It looked awful. And I get thinking back every once in a while, and I think how people would laugh. And when we go to town, went down the wagon, there wasn't no cars. Our banker was the first, I was about 15, and our banker was the first that got a car in there. And I don't know, him and my daddy always chummed together a lot. And he brought his family out one Sunday for dinner to our house in the car. Well, as kids, we had our nasty hands all over that. I never will forget. Our daddy liked to whoop us after the last.
What kind of car was it?
I don't remember what kind of car. I just know Well, it must have been a Ford or something. It's built up like a Ford is now.
You know what year that was?
No, I don't remember what year that was, but I know that's the first car we knowed of being in the country.
When you first saw the car, what'd you think?
Well, I don't know what I did think. We thought it was funny, but the car didn't. Oh, it didn't make over 15 to 20 miles an hour at the best, you know.
As a small girl, what chores did you do around the house?
What chores?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, Lord, what chores now. I done everything around the house you could think of. By the time I was 8 years old, I was getting up every morning. We get up every morning at 4 o'clock. When 4 o'clock come, we got up, washed and combed our hair, got ready and went to the table. Well, by the time I was 8, I was doing all the cooking and all the housework and going to the field and chopping corn. And my dress is down to the instep. And you know how dirty they get in the field of working. It was hard to wash them.
Tell me about washing the clothes. How'd you do the laundry?
Well, we had 2 big wash pots, huge wash pots. And my daddy take and put stakes on each end, and then put chains on these wash pots and build a pond under here and a header of water. Well, he'd help us put my water in the tub, and then I'd take the rub board. And our soap, that was the funny part about our soap. I could make soap all the time. I would do it, but I quit. Now, every fall, Papa, he cut green wood. Well, he built what we call an ash hopper. It'd come up this way. And when he packed the ashes out, he poured it in this ash hopper. Well, the dark moon in March, why, he went to pouring water on that. And he set a vessel down here and caught that water and poured it in the wash pot. So he thought if we had enough to make a pot of soap. Well, we always had our own meat. I say that's the reason I've lived so long. We didn't eat just any and everything that come up. Had our own food back there. And we'd take scrap meat and put in this and cook it till this live water eat it all up. Then we'd have half of bears, and we'd pour this in these here bears. And when we went to wash, we'd take a bucket and dip out a bucket of soap and run our hands in that and put it on our dirty spots in our clothes and rub it on a rub board and then put it in the pot and boil it and take a stick and stand there and job it for long and then take it out and put it through 3 waters for a rinsed it and then hung it out. We had some beautiful white clothes.
Where'd you get the water?
We generally got the water out of the well, or my daddy went to the creek and hauled it up lots of times. He'd haul up a couple of barrels of water first to wash. And we had no bathtubs. and he always, in summer, when we was working in the field, he would, over there about noon, he'd draw 3 or 4 buckets of water and put in a big number 3 wash tub. Let it sit there in his porch where the sun is on. And as kids come in from the field, he'd say, go wash your feet and legs up as far as you can. We'd go wash. Then we'd wash our hands and face, comb our hair, and go to supper, eat supper. When supper's over with, dishes is washed, we went to the front room and got our lesson. And then after we got our lesson, we got the songbook, and we sung a couple of songs, and we went to bed.
Who gave you your lessons? Who gave you the lessons?
The what?
Your lessons. You said you took your lessons?
My record?
No, your lessons.
Lessons?
Yeah.
Well, we didn't get no lessons hardly. Now, the way we went to school, of winter we'd we'd start in along about November, about the middle of November. We would start into school and go to school till about March. And then we quit and went to the field, went to work and worked in the field till about that time next fall, you know, then we'd go back.
name of the school?
What's the name of the school?
Yes, ma'am.
Harrison School.
And who was your teacher?
Oh, Lord, that made me think. I was intending to write my teacher, the last teacher I went to. I never did get to go to school, just a very little bit. I was oldest at home, and I had to take all of the work. It was to be done around the house, cooking, washing, ironing, and, the old school this last year, but we always, every year, have a school reunion for every school that I went to. Well, the year before last, I got to see my teacher. She lived in Missouri, but she was 97 last year, and we offered to make up the money and have her flown here, but she's afraid to try, so we could all meet again. It was kind of funny to see us all. We was all so much older, than what old gray-headed me dog talk about went to school. We didn't have no ball games, and our seats in our schoolhouse was built out of oak planks. It went to the sawmill, got it. It's built out of oak planks, and our seats was hewed out of logs, split the logs, and hew them, then take one of these big hewing axes. I don't know whether you've ever seen one.
A broad axe?
Yeah, a broad axe. Hewed them off, and that's what we sat on. We didn't have no backs to lean to. We just sat up there.
How many students in the school?
How many what?
How many students in the school?
Oh, there was always about 75 of us, and I've taught so much. Now, my granddaughter is a teacher up here at Chelsea, and I've taught so much about our teachers didn't draw only from $70 to $75 a month, and it'd always be from 75 to 80 children, and she taught all of them. She started at the front with the little ones, and graded us up to the back, And 8th grade is where we'd go. She went to, my sister in California, she went to the 8th grade and taught school. Went to that 8th grade, and she taught school one winter, and the next summer, while she went to college, and she taught school. She taught out of school for several years, that way till she finished up her college degree. Now then, they wouldn't let you in. Now my husband, he was putting orphans home. He went to the 8th grade, and he could help my granddaughter with her lessons and with her trouble. He knowed more when he came out of the 8th grade than she knowed when she was out of school. That was the difference, isn't it? No, there was lots of difference in the children. I always wondered if the younger children are smarter, but I guess the parents seen after more is what I always said. Parents, we wasn't allowed to go every place, do everything. We had to live right and do right. No, there ain't nothing like it is now.
Did you do ironing at home?
You what?
Did you do ironing at home? No, ironing. Iron the shirts and the dresses.
Well, I can't understand.
Did you do ironing at home with the old sad iron?
Yeah, we had to, I guess I still got one of my old sad iron. No, we cut a little wood to iron the clothes, and we ironed the socks. We didn't do like we do now. Fold them up and put them away. We ironed all the socks, all the underwear was ironed and folded just as neat and put away.
Did you make your starch?
Make what?
Starch?
Oh, yeah.
How do you make starch?
Well, we just take and say a cup of flour to make a dishpan full of starch, a cup of flour and a big tea kettle of water. But we first put a little water in this flour and stirred it up till it got into a paste. And then we poured this boiling water over it. And it was pretty clear starch, just clear as what you make now, making starch. That's what we starched all of our clothes, our top clothes, our dresses and things. We starched everything that way.
How many irons did you iron with?
About 4.
And how much of a shirt or a dress could you iron before you had to get a new iron?
Oh, you could iron quite a bit if you would hurry up about it. You could iron, maybe it might near iron a dress with one arm. But you had to put your table, we put a table close to the cook stove, and iron set on the cook stove, and we'd go back as far as you get iron, and ironing all day.
You say that you worked in the fields also?
Oh, yeah.
What crops did you raise? What crops did you raise?
We raised cotton and corn and maize, all such as that, and nearly every home had an orchard, and we dried our fruit and our corn to eat. There wasn't many fruit jars, and we dried our corn. We put it on top of the house, spread the no sheet on top of the house, and cut our corn off the cob and put it up there, and work there 2 or 3 times a day, and take our hand and shovel around. We had a mosquito bar went over to keep the flies from spreading.
Now what's that?
A mosquito bar.
Yeah.
Well, does either one of you all know? No. Well, it's a piece of cloth, I guess you'd call it cloth, but it's just a fine little fine holes all in it, so the flies and stuff couldn't get on our food. And we dried, maybe we dried 2 or 3 50-pound sacks of flour, sacks of flour about that long. And we put them in, and we put them in and hang them up on the wall in the kitchen. And we dry all of our peaches, and apricots, and apples, everything like that. We dried them and hung them on the wall in the kitchen. And our beans, we waited till they dried and picked our beans and had our beans. We put them in cans or whatever we had. And we had more cheese hooks and everything else. And then the cheese was in hooks. And you go in, and when we went to town and place going to cafe, maybe there'd be a cafe and maybe there wasn't in town. And we got ready to go, got through the trade and got ready to go home. We would go to the store, and the crackers was in barrels. It wasn't in boxes like they are now. Well, we tell them we wanted maybe a dime's worth of crackers. Well, we get a big paper sack full of crackers. Then we tell them maybe we wanted a quarter's worth of cheese. Well, we get enough cheese for 4 or 5. Well, on our way home, that's what we eat. In fact, we go to cafe and eat it. I can remember the first time ever I seen any candy. We didn't know what candy was till, I was 8 or 10 years old. And we had a store about 2 miles of us. We could walk and go to the store every once in a while, take eggs to get those things that we needed. And we seen candy, and the fellow that run it told us what it was, candy. I bought some of it. You get a big paper sack full for a dime. But it's what you call a whorehound candy. That's what it was. And then the taffy candy. Of course, people made it. It's taffy candy. And we got taffy candy for the longest. And we've laughed, since we got grown, we've laughed lots of times. Papa, if he went to town, he'd come in with a big sack half full of that. Well, he didn't allow us too much sweet stuff. And he'd give us all 2 pieces apiece. He had a big trunk, and he locked that up. The next week, about that time, he went and gave us 2 more pieces apiece. And that's the way that candy went. We didn't just eat all we could eat. And the first loaf of bread ever I seen, I thought it was the funniest thing. Of course, we was used to making our rolls and our bread at home. I told some of them the other day, asked me about making bread, and I said, well, I don't know. I'd have to study a while. I said, used to I made bread all the time, but I don't know. But the first loaf of bread ever I seen, I thought that was the funny. We always would make rolls when we was baking bread. But it got to where once in a while you could find a loaf of bread in the store. And there was a family that lived, about a quarter of us. And every time they would start to town, and they had 4 children. They'd leave the children and say, "Children, what do you want us to bring you back? Candy or what?" They said, "No, a loaf of bread and jelly." We thought that was a loaf of bread, just to get a loaf of bread, you know. Well, it was something to them kids.